On the other side of madness, clarity. Past the darkness, light. I'd taken a panel off the wainscoting in the space we were using as a guest room. The notebook had told me where the secret passageway was going to be. It was a notebook I'd found on a closet shelf, tucked in the corner behind the wall in one of the kids' rooms. I'd gone into the secret house attached to my own but not visible from the outside, designed by an architect that had been a freak. This secret house disguised by the architecture went down at a sharp angle to the other, like it was holding the other in a reverse pile driver, if not a 69 grip. I had to walk slow in the dark, flashlight squeezed, to keep from falling over and dropping my only light source. Whatever, I thought, moving with an only live once strut. I had anxiety. I had arguments with my husband. And I didn't know how long I'd be able to keep my cushy new software engineer job when the second I moved into my cubicle, nearby was a water cooler like it's a tree of woe hanging over my head, and I hear water cooler talk. Actual, literal water cooler talk in this era when we might as well wirelessly be drinking water. About restructuring. So there was stress. Most importantly, the kids were all right. Great, in fact. I was still learning, like how not everything gets packed away when one homeowner leaves and the next one takes their spot. The notebook's clawing spirals had flecks of rust, yellow-brown paper more flayed than frayed, softened cover that was almost damp. It had aged in whatever funk it stewed in long enough for me to find it, and I just knew as I navigated that dark, hidden house, 69ing or pile driving our own, that had not been touched in a long time. That the notebook was, in fact, from the other house, and that the other house was much older than this one. That architect had been a freak. 10 years ago, he had snuck into one of his other creations, using a secret key for a secret lock on a secret door, and murdered its then owners. Their bones had been discovered in the banisters of the most recent of his designs being built. And when the police cornered him, he went down swinging and was killed by the arresting officers. Give me liberty or give me death, he said basically. Or maybe he said nobody puts baby in a corner. In the photos, he did look youngish, even baby-faced, despite his advanced years. Hubby and I had fought over this house before we knew about the other one, the secret one. And later, as I navigated through the dark, this was my secret. I'd call Arthur to let him know, but on my timetable, when I was ready to share. Spence, he'd said to me while we were stuck in a drive-thru to pick up kids' meals and a little something for ourselves, you know that house is no place to raise children. It's a beautiful house in a great neighborhood. You can't beat the location, and besides that, aren't you a little bit intrigued? The kids won't know about its history. I get you're into macabre shit like that, trust me. So am I, but it's history. The past, and no one was murdered or their remains discovered in that particular house. That we know of. Later, just me in there, supposed to be homesick from work, and the secret house we didn't know we'd gotten in the deal, and the kids at daycare, and Arthur at his job. When I found this notebook with instructions crawling along its pages, I was glad of it. But moving, slanted in the dark, I let it fall over me like a warm tongue. Let my heart palpitate, immersed myself again in that kind of fear. It beat the day-to-day, the mundane stuff that slowly rips you apart and seeds madness into the cracks. Some things grow without light, after all. There could have been anything in that other house, and at the moment I wanted to hold whatever it was in my arms. That was before I saw the light. It was coming from inside a room with an open door. I crept inside. Under a lamp that barely carved a hole in the dark, there were sketches, notes, blueprints, structures devised by the architect that were yet to be built. They spin. The following was found handwritten on loose leaf, partway buried in the dirt beneath the merry-go-round at the playground in Gray Hills Ronald Brown Park. I wanted to think it began as many things do, gradual. Maybe some kids took to spinning in the park a little more each day. A skater at winter-frozen Wren Lake found it strange that she lingered a little longer in her upright spin than desired. Must be out of practice. As things progressed, ballroom dancers taking a class at the Y, one asking their partner to please stop spinning so much, they were making them scared. Really? I've got no idea how it began. But the way things were, many of the people here would not stop spinning. We thought it was a virus. Maybe it was. I believe that in most cases, if you were to try spinning around in circles indefinitely, long past disorientation and discomfort, you would eventually lose consciousness. As I understand it, centrifugal force would impede blood flow to the brain. Something was keeping them going. They got violent when they spun, too. What I wrote about Wren Lake and ice skating comes from what I saw out there. Driving by the lake, I saw ice skaters spinning, cutting each other with the blades of their skates. I caught an image of red splashing through the air as easy as ducks lifting to the sky. We called it the spin virus for a while. We called them spinners. This part of town got shut down, no one in or out. Military vehicles parked at exits, makeshift fences cordoning off. All attempts at journalism were nipped. Would-be newsmakers loaded into unmarked vans and squealed away. Government lackeys in hazmat suits materialized and put up their tents and tubes like it was all one big playhouse at a fast food restaurant. People spinning, scratching others with fingernails and sharp objects, sometimes biting. The owner of the nearby hunting goods store was the first I saw to shoot a few of them. In your defense, he later said, my son and I were running into a shop and all I heard was a rifle blast and the ringing in my ears. Turned to see the first drop. Another few blasts and I was late in telling my son not to look as grisly, winter-steamed, still spinning bodies hit the asphalt with a woof woof uff uff. My son was screaming near the opening and closing glass doors. Open, close, screaming. The spinners continued to spin on the ground. Muscle spasms, the store owner said calmly. But this was his first rodeo, because these spinners persisted in their efforts to spin on the ground. We tied up one spinner in the back room, on a couch, using heavy-duty tree stand rope from the shop. The 30-something man continued to try it, bones popping, folds of flesh oozing, reddened eyes rolling and sometimes catching on us. The tied spinner's teeth chattered. Chipped pieces of teeth spun out. Shop owner said the chattering was Morse code, deciphered it. I am Boer. Behold my whirling arms.